So now we would like to work on the algorithm behind in the .m file. The first thing that, we need is that we need some string that can record the input from the user, and then that string needs to be visible from all of the callback functions and create functions, all of the functions. Basically, you have two choices. One is the global variable, but in principle, global variable is not recommended in programming. And another possibility, that's what we are going to do here, is actually to create another field in handles here, because handle is something that that you can also always see in all of the functions. So we create a field called ans in the handles and set it to be empty here. And every time if you want to update this string here, you need to specify this command here to update the handle structure. Yeah. So basically, that's what we want to do. We just copy and for example paste here. So in the case of C, it means that we want to clear the input. And to clear the input, we can just say that we set the .ans to be empty, and then we set the text fields to also be empty. So this is the text field for the formula, and to be empty dot string. And then text field for the answer also to be empty. Okay, maybe like this. Yeah. And then the second one is when you press backspace. In that case, you need to remove the last element. Yeah. To remove the last element, let's put it into a temporary variable. And then, depending on what is the length of the variable, if it is larger, if it larger equals 1, which means that it is not empty, we set it to be one to and minus 1. So basically remove the last element. Else, we set it to be empty. Okay, and you did and here. Yeah. And then remember, you need to update the GUI data here, and then you need to change the string of the formula to be out, and then change the answer field to be empty. Okay. Okay. So another thing is that we will encounter one function that is to append to the last element of the string multiple times. So for that, it's better to just add another function at the end. Add to string, and this is the input character, and this is the handles. Yeah, so that we can directly modify the text fields, and then it depends. Yeah, if the answer field is not empty, which means that you have already calculated one number. But in this case, you need to be a little bit careful, because we also want to put some text in the output field. So we just detect whether the output field is a number. If it is a number, it means that we already have an answer here. And then, depending on So basically now the situation is that we have already one answer, and then depending on what is the next button to be pressed, it will clear the string or it will append the string. So let's see. So string compare, this means that whether these two is equal. So if the input equals to square root, yeah. So I forgot to mention that that the square root button basically append sqrt and left parentheses to the string, yeah, which we will implement later. If that is the case, we will just change the sequence and put the sqrt first, because otherwise it doesn't make sense. And those dot this is the answer, text field, and string. Yes. So we take the number from the answer text field and put the sqrt in front. And then here, yes, here. And then we want to change the formula to the out here, and then change the answer to be like clear the answer field. And then we want to just end the function here. Okay. And then else if, or it is a dot, or let's just copy, this will be faster, or it is left parentheses, or it is right parentheses. We keep the write the output equals input, so basically we clear everything and without taking the number, and then just copy it here. And otherwise, basically that's the case with all of the other operators, plus, minus, divided by, and also multiply. And in that case, we keep the number from the answer and append the input afterwards. And in that case, this is also the same. And just remember to have the argument returned here, so that it doesn't execute the program afterwards. Okay. So if this is not the case, we just append the output, append the input to the string that we to the global variable string handles.answer here, yeah. And then we also want to update the string in the formula text field and also the answer text field. Okay, so now this function is done, and we can just copy this function to all of the buttons that we define. Okay, for example, the button 7. So we just need to use this formula here, handles.ans equals add to string. And then for that, we need to use the GUI data here to update the handles. And the input is actually 7, written in the string, the form of string. And then we write here sqrt, and I will just fast forward this part. There is still one thing left, that is the implementation of the equal button. Yeah? So because if you hit the equal button, it needs to evaluate the string. So, but in this case, if you just write eval handles.ans, if it is a valid expression, it will be okay. It will output a number. And then for that number, you can just write handles.text answer.string to be number to string, to convert the number to the string here, yeah, and then it will output the answer in the answer text field. However, if it is illegal, it will output an error and stop the program. So this is something that we don't want to do. In this case, you can try use the try and catch structure. Yeah, it will try to catch the error so that it will not really output an error message and stop the program. So we try. And we also add another equal sign in the formula text field, so that it is clear that we pressed the equal button. Handles.ans, and I add another equal sign afterwards. Yeah, this is not necessary. It's just that I like the way that we write it here. Okay. So if there is any error, it will catch the error and execute this line here. So basically, we just write in the answer field that it is an invalid expression. Okay, so now I think everything is more or less done. Let's just run the code to see whether we get any error. Okay, so I forgot the output here. Yeah, basically this out is something like the return in the C++ code here. Okay, and then just run. There's another problem. Okay, I see. I made a mistake here because there should be a this sign here. Okay, and then let's check again. Okay, 9 plus 9 plus 9 minus square root 6 multiplied by 3 and equal. Yeah, so now it's working fine. So now we have an answer here. If you write plus here, there is a problem. There is another mistake here. And let's check again. Yeah, and then if we press plus here, it will automatically inherit the answer here, for example, multiplied by 1.2. Yeah, okay. But if you don't hit those operators, if you press, for example, 9 here, it will start a new session. Yeah, and then, for example, minus square root 3, something like that. Yeah, and then if you hit the backslash, okay, there is another problem here. Sorry. Okay, so let's do it again. Okay, now it works. Yeah. and this is the backspace, and this is to clear everything. And then if you have something illegal like this, press equal, and then it will say invalid expression. And after it said invalid expression, it doesn't clear the input, so that you can still try to modify it to make it valid. Yeah. Okay. So thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Okay. So we have already we have successfully made a calculator of graphical user interface in MATLAB. I hope you enjoyed this video, and hope to see you next time.